My parents discovered I have a girlfriend. They want us to break up.
They're just jealous.
I've been with my girlfriend for a little over a month. She's the first girlfriend I've ever had. Prior to her, I had only kissed one girl. I come from a very religious and conservative background. We're Christian. And my parents are church elders, and the word of God is absolute in our household. Growing up, I wasn't allowed to date girls. If I had done so and they found out, there would have been heck to pay. That heck has finally materialized. By the way, this comes from Just Another Gunner, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. So, I'm fortunate that I'm away at university. I'm not even in the same country as them. I'm from Kenya, and I've been studying for my undergraduate degree in the United Kingdom. I only arrived a couple of months ago, and my girlfriend is from Norway. We stay in the same dorm. I'm very shy and introverted, and when I arrived initially, I kept to myself. She is like the total opposite of me, very confident and extroverted. She would drag me out of my room when I tended to isolate myself, forcing me to interact with other people and to explore. One thing led to another, and we started dating.
Yay! I love this.
I love this.
Cute.
These last few weeks have been the best of my life. Honestly, I've never been so happy. My girlfriend is beyond amazing. Like I wrote, I come from a very strict and religious background, an upbringing that didn't allow dating or spicy sleep before marriage. I lost my virginity with my girlfriend. Initially, with my faith, it was difficult to reconcile with, but I realized I couldn't live in my parents' shadow forever, and I am now content and at peace with it. However, it's not so simple. My parents found out about my relationship. Before coming here, they were clear that dating was off limits, that it was something I should do only when I graduate. They found out about my girlfriend and me because of Facebook. I was tagged in a photograph by a friend, and we were kissing. The pic went onto my timeline, and someone from my church back home saw it. That person told my parents, and it was game over. My dad called me in a rage. What made the picture worse was that it was taken in a bar. I don't drink, but that night, my girlfriend and I, along with a few friends, went to a bar. They were drinking, and I wasn't. But the table we were sitting at was filled with booze, and because of that, my parents also thought I was drinking. Oh man, I caught so much heck. They have demanded that I end the relationship. They made me feel like the devil. They wouldn't even let me explain or get a word in. They said if I don't end it and if I don't stop drinking, they will turn their backs on me. It's like, well, I've got great news for you. Just never drinking in the first place. So there are some comments. Comment number 1 says, lucky for you, you are 18 and not living under their roof. Just because they demanded something doesn't mean that you have to do it. Dating is normal at 18, and if you want to do it, so be it. Live your life how you want, especially abroad at uni. You ain't getting this time back. OP responds, the thing is, they're paying for my education.
Yeah, that's a tricky bit.
And that is something that they are using as leverage. Someone responds, if they are threatening you financially, it is likely a bluff. More than anything, what they desire is control. If they stop paying for college, what else would they have left to threaten you with? What has happened in the past when you disobeyed then? OP says, I have an older sister and she said the same thing. They're bluffing. My parents value education a lot, and growing up as a kid, I was always pushed hard to do well in school. My sister told me that there is no way they would stop me from doing my degree. As for what they have done in the past when I disobeyed, shouted at me and reprimanded me, but these were minor things, the disobeying. As someone else responds, this is why you need to get in touch with your dean or admin of financial affairs, whatever it's called. Explain to them that you are in a harmful situation with your parents and need to start transitioning to independent financial aid. Explain the situation, your upbringing, and the fact that they will pull your financial aid if you don't follow their ridiculous rules and you just cannot live with you anymore. Go from there. Make sure that they know it's not just a typical helicopter parent situation either, if those are even typical. Comment number 2 says, just lie to them. They aren't your friends and they don't respect you. Lie and get what they should have given you unconditionally. Then set boundaries and gradually decrease contact until you are comfortable. People like this don't change easily.
I'm like, not gonna lie. Yeah, you tried to talk to them. You did that already. It didn't work.
Right. It sucks that like the picture is literally of them kissing though. It's not like,
I think you just go and they say, you better break up with her or else. Okay.
like, okay, I'm doing, yeah, honestly. All right, I'll do it. I'll break up.
Yes, sir.
And then tell all your friends, like, you guys, you can't post anything about me. Can't post anything at all. Are there settings on Facebook to like not have other people's posts about you on your... I think there are.
Yeah, I wonder if you can make sure like so people don't tag you on things or something. Yeah. Honestly, I think for now that's the way to go.
You'll grow up and then they'll be fine with it, I guess. But we do have an update. So my parents recently gave me an ultimatum. Break up with my girlfriend or face them turning their backs on me, prompting me to drop out of university. There we go. And then just lie. They are very conservative and religious Christians, and they said that I should only date when I'm done with school. Growing up, I wasn't allowed to date at all. Prior to my first girlfriend, I had only kissed one girl. My parents have always been very strict and unrelenting in what they think is right and what they think is wrong. Spicy sleep before marriage for them is an absolute no-no. I come from Kenya, but I'm studying for my BA in England. My parents found out that I had a girlfriend due to Facebook. Yeah, I learned from that mistake big time, and they flipped. Initially, my plan was just to lie to them. They are thousands of miles away, and with me being much more savvy with Facebook privacy settings in the aftermath of what happened, the chances of them finding out that I was still with my girl were slim.
Exactly.
That sounds great. But there is, however, that didn't come to pass because I got very pissed off by what my dad demanded of me. He required physical proof that the relationship was over.
Do you want me to send her a locket of her hair? How do you get physical proof? Crying face.
Yeah, like, we're done.
I just broke up with her.
Yeah, a picture of you both crying or like a video of you guys, like, of you telling her and like a secret video.
She's on a boat. She's going, bye.
Yeah.
Broke up with her. She's moving.
Just a bad Photoshop of her on a boat. And you like with like the modified like face edit that gives you the big overdone like frowny face.
Over the weekend, he called and demanded that my girlfriend should record a video of herself saying it was over. This is so funny. I am a shy, reserved person who has always been obedient to my parents. But for the first time in my life, I stood up for myself. I've never spoken back to my parents before, but on that day, I did. I told my dad that he wasn't living in the same universe as everyone else and that there was no way that I would humiliate and degrade my girlfriend in such a manner. Honestly, good point. That's like so awkward for the dad to ask of the girlfriend.
Dude, I could do it.
Get some fake tears going.
I'm breaking up with you.
It seems like an easy video to record and then just be like, haha, and then just kiss afterwards.
From like a principle standpoint, I understand.
For sure. Like if we're all adults here, you're asking another adult like, hey, you have to record that you are breaking up. Like that's weird as heck.
Yeah, I would be like, do I want to be with you? I don't know. But so it's good that OP's like, no.
Yeah.
I won't do it.
Exactly. Good on you. OP says that such a proposal was insane. He then started screaming and shouting at me, characteristically so. I cut the line. He tried calling again. I answered and he continued shouting. I told him I wouldn't talk to him until he started acting in a civil manner. I hung up again and didn't respond to his calls. He then sent me a string of angry messages saying that he will stop paying for my tuition and that I'm not his son anymore. My mom called me a few hours later and she imitated my dad's angry rhetoric. But I calmed her down and we spoke. I told her that I absolutely love her and my dad and that I'm grateful for everything that they have done for me in life. But I stressed the fact that I'm 18. I'm a man living in a completely new country, absorbing a completely new culture and making my own way in life. And that I am old enough to have a girlfriend. I told her my girlfriend makes me happier than I've ever been. And that she got me out of isolating myself in my room during those few weeks when I was too shy to meet new people and make new friends. She continued to object and went to the extreme justification of her reservations. Pregnancy.
And that's why we teach kids safe practices.
Exactly.
So that there is no pregnancy.
Right. Going so far as to asking whether we had slept together. I told her that respectfully, it's none of her business. After that, she just hung up on me. I didn't hear from my parents until yesterday. It was my mom. She said that she and my dad will continue paying for my tuition.
Nice.
But that they are very disappointed in me and they regret sending me off to Europe to study, that it was better for me to go to a Kenyan uni.
How will I live with your disappointment?
No.
Happily.
She added that they raised me to be a better man and that the path I'm going down isn't right. But you know what path that you could go down that is always the right path? Is going down your favorite podcast app, whether that's Spotify, Radio, Apple Podcasts, whatever you so choose, and just search OK Storytime, because you know what you're going to find down that road? You're going to find full episodes with stories just like this one. So many of them.
So many.
So many. Just walk on down.
Walk on down the road.
And there is a little bit more to the story, but I think we're at a great point.
I agree. I mean, yeah, I understand why that commenter said lie, but OP found out that, you know, they probably weren't going to cut off his funding.
Yeah.
And then was like, you know what? No, I'm not going to let them boss me around. This is my life.
Alive.
You know, there are certain things that you got to acquiesce to your parents because there's still financial, or, you know, you're still financially dependent, or you live at home, or et cetera, et cetera.
Right.
And OP's like, you know what? This is not one of them. I'm my own man. I live in my own place. I'm not even in the same country.
But there is a little bit more to this story. I was planning to go to Kenya for the Christmas break, but with the way things are, I don't think I will. My older sister lives in Seattle, and she said that I'm welcome to stay with her over Christmas break. But that will probably be too expensive of a proposition for me. My girlfriend is Norwegian, and she said that she would love it if I spent Christmas with her and her family back in Norway. Her parents would be cool with it. Norway is a much more realistic destination for me. It's much closer than the States, and thus much cheaper. And that is the end of that story.
Lovely.
Lovely.
We'd love to see it. Good on you, OP.
Good on you.
My parents disowned me. Now my sick mother wants to rekindle our relationship.
I don't know if that's possible.
My parents disowned me last year. It's been a little over a year now. This isn't the first time. They also disowned me 2 years ago for a few months. They came back to talk to me, and at first it seemed like things were smoothed over, but of course they weren't. By the way, this comes from both repeat 3817, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So, a bit about them. My father mistreated my mother for most of my life. She was always in his shadow, and we lived in fear. But that was considered okay because we had enough money, we went on vacations, and had everything material we needed. Besides the physical stuff, I wasn't fully aware of how deep the psychological scars were until I met my long-term boyfriend. And also, I think trigger warning for mentions of abuse. Being with him helped me realize just how problematic my parents' behavior towards me was. Daily control, constant belittling, treating me like I was 12 when I was actually 20. For the first time, I started standing up for myself and behaving like an adult. At first, things were fine between them and my boyfriend, but that changed over time. My boyfriend and I went through rough patches, arguments, and even breakups, but we worked through them together. The first big issue arose when my boyfriend moved in with me in the city where we lived. This didn't align with my father's standards, meaning we didn't ask for his permission in person at his house, though we did call him. My boyfriend took over paying rent so that my parents wouldn't have any control over me, as I was still a student at the time. Later, we decided to leave the house and move to a rural area where my boyfriend inherited a house that needed work. We wanted to fix it up and make it our home. That's when my parents disowned me again.
What?
Stop disowning your children.
Yeah.
You don't deserve your children if you keep disowning them.
Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, still shame on you. Stop disowning your children.
Eventually, they came back, and after a lot of back and forth, we reconciled. But after some time, they started another cycle of manipulation and insulting where I lived, mocking me, saying I'd be stuck taking care of livestock and become a dumb country girl despite my education. They called me worthless, said my boyfriend had me under his control, was probably hurting me, and so on. During this, my boyfriend and I had a huge argument, and I decided to leave the house. There was a lot of yelling, but no violence. My parents came to get me, and I moved back in with them. They were overjoyed. Everything was fine for a while until my boyfriend reached out to my father trying to explain that he was the one who suggested I leave because our living conditions weren't ideal. We had no heating, no bathroom, etc. My father refused to listen and got even angrier, saying my boyfriend had no right to call him. My boyfriend then called me and I went to see him. I wanted to bring him home so we could all talk properly, but my father said my boyfriend could only kiss his feet before getting punted out. He told me I had two choices: walk out the door and never return, or stay and block my boyfriend completely. I panicked, had a breakdown, and blocked my boyfriend who had been waiting outside for me. For a month, we had no contact. I moved in with my sister in a bigger town near where my boyfriend lived. One day, he came to her place just to hand me a letter and see me one last time. That's when I unblocked him, and we started talking occasionally. After a while, I realized I wanted to try again with him. When I told my parents, they said they would disown me again. You don't get 3. It's too many.
Too many.
1 is too many. 2 is too many.
This is a lot of paperwork. Such a big, punishment.
Thrown out willy-nilly.
Yeah.
You got to expect to hit a little easier the third time, right?
Yeah, at the third time, you're like, well, they'll come back.
So this is like, we're going to go get some ice cream and then everything's fine, right?
Yeah. We know the stats.
They claimed he would beat me, throw me out like a dog, that I'd end up homeless, and they start cursing me. I stayed silent. Then I realized, why do they think they can forbid a 23-year-old woman from seeing or reconciling with her partner? Because you allow them to. And that's not like, it's your fault. The only power that they have is what you give them.
True. Wise words.
It was insane. Meanwhile, they either treated me like a princess or a servant. One moment they'd say, you don't have to cook, you've cooked enough. And the next they say, why don't you cook? You're just sitting around. If I did cook, it was, what, just one meal? If I cooked more, it was, that's nothing.
Leave her alone.
My sister started spying on me and gave me a cleaning schedule.
What?
My parents showed up unannounced twice a week. That's when I fully realized how sick our relationship was. How it wasn't normal for someone to control a grown woman's life. What if I wanted to move, change jobs? Would they think they had the right to decide for me? Yeah. Just like my whole childhood where I lived in their shadow, afraid to even breathe differently for fear of their reaction. So I told them I was getting back together with him. Their response, you'll only enter this house again in a coffin or on a stretcher.
Oh my God. That's psychotic.
Your parents are crazy. They called me a substance user, mentally ill, cursed everything they ever gave me, and told me their doors were closed forever or until next year, knowing them.
When they've owned you again, when they're on again, parents.
Even if my boyfriend, oh my goodness, hurt me or threw me out in the street, I simply said okay.
Can we point out the logical gap there? They're like, if your boyfriend makes you cease to exist, we're still not taking you back. It's like, you're a little too late at that point, guys.
Yeah, I reckon you wouldn't take me back.
So now it's just like, okay, 4th or 5th time, you just gotta be like, oh my God, okay, I believe you. I guess I'll have nothing to do with you then from now on.
Treat your parents like the OK Storytime public live stream timer.
Treat it like it's not real.
Within days, I moved out completely. They threatened everyone not to talk to me. They pestered my grandparents, checked their phones, monitored their messages, and yelled at them. My aunts eventually reached out, and when I saw my mother at a family wedding, I nodded at her, but she ignored me completely. And my sister also cut off contact because I told her I wouldn't call her to avoid her being pestered, but that I'd always answer if she called. Once I missed her call, and she never called me again. Your sister is very much in that, she's in the trenches of your parents' kind of manipulation.
Yeah.
I mean, if she's spying for them, she's pretty far gone. My grandparents secretly came to see me, but later my father found out because he has people in the village watching me.
In the village?
Dude, this is 1984.
No. High key, the village being dropped in there makes so much sense.
This is the thought police, dude.
This is like a small community of tight-knit people, and that's why these parents are like,
This is where a disappointment means something. And disownment is devastating. Now the twist. My mom she had her uterus removed and she's recovering. My grandparents are pushing for us to reconcile, and they accidentally gave her my new phone number. They didn't accidentally do anything. They did that on purpose.
He just whoops.
Oh no.
I slipped and typed it in your phone. Oh no.
My parents are now claiming they have had no issue with my boyfriend anymore. I understand why my grandparents want peace, but I can't erase everything that was said to me or the year I spent completely alone. During this time, my boyfriend and I have struggled with rising costs and inflation, but we made our choice, and that's fine. Still, every time I think of my parents, I feel nothing but anger. A few days ago, my mother messaged me, I think enough time has passed, and it would be nice to meet and talk. I've been home resting, so why not? If you feel the same, let me know. Mom.
Just absolutely insane that these people are conflating disowning their kid with we're just gonna have some space.
Yeah.
Not at all the same thing.
Nope. And the thing is that it's not even in their circles disownment means nothing. It's just a word. Probably If they're in, I mean, like, I'm just kind of guessing here, but they mentioned village. It seems like they have a pretty tight network of people. Disownment is probably a big deal.
Yeah, I bet.
And yet they're using it like it's nothing. I replied, I heard what happened. I hope you recover soon. If you want to talk, we can, but I don't see where the conversation would lead. Time alone won't erase everything that was said to me without a good reason. She answered, it wasn't right on either side. If you want to talk, let me know. That response infuriated me. I haven't replied in 10 days. I never insulted them or responded to any of their words, but they trashed my name and disrespected me entirely. I thought that was the end of it, but today she messaged again asking to meet in a nearby town. My boyfriend says I should go since it can't get worse. I'm considering it just to put an end to their constant calls and messages and to hear what they have to say, but the idea makes me deeply uncomfortable and anxious. I avoid conflict and I don't know how to handle it. I'm afraid they'll manipulate me again, and I'll end up back in the same cycle. By the way, you can listen to full episodes of stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio and search Aboki Storytime.
That's a cycle I would like to end up in.
But before we finish off this story, do you have any final thoughts?
It's the kind of thing that, like, you really have to just kind of let it go over your head. Just can't let it affect you too hard. I mean, way easier said than done, but it's like, you know, try to distance yourself. You probably should be in therapy if you're not already. Just focus on yourself, focus on the things that make you happy and what you want for your future, and just, you can understand why they're saying these crazy things, not forgiving them, but just be like, that's just their own issue. It has nothing to do with me.
And these people are never going to be in the right because they, you know, but we got a little bit more to this story. What do you think? I know this is a lot and you don't have the full picture here, but please help me gain some perspective. Everyone around me just says, do what you think is right, or asks me if I could live with never seeing them again if something happens to them. But I don't even know how to deal with what's happening now, let alone hypothetical futures. I feel lost and overwhelmed. It seems so unfair that everyone expects me to make the effort to visit, to talk, to lower my pride, when in the end, I was the only one who was hurt. Comment 1 says, say you'll go, but leave a letter addressed to them with whatever you want to say. Go no contact, quit answering them. They're probably trying to get you to come back and play maid or nurse now. Yeah. She's recovering from, you know, having to get rid of her uterus. OP says, from what I hear, they are all one big happy family helping my poor mother get better. They don't need me. I live nowhere near them, and I neither have the money nor the willingness to help her. I've been no contact for over a year. This is the first time they reached out to me aside from my grandparents. Comment 2 says, do you really trust them? They already lured you back in once, and look how that went. What do you think you might get out of seeing them? OP says, no, I don't trust them at all. That's why I'm feeling scared, because I fear that they can still have power over me. I don't know, maybe if I do see her and stay no contact, I will feel easier if something happens to her down the line. I do not want to be a bad person who holds grudges, but I can't help feeling furious that she even thought it was okay to message me without even an apology. Reply says, sounds like you already know your answer. You know, the thing is, I think a lot of people are like, oh, you know, when someone's sick or ill, you know, you need to go and like let them apologize. You need to let them see you because they don't have a lot of time. And sure, there are scenarios where, you know, that's you being the bigger person and stuff. This isn't a moment where she's like on her, you know, like last day.
Right.
And saying like, I would love, like, please come. I want to apologize for everything I've done. Like, that's not what's happening here.
Yeah.
She's got no self-awareness.
Nope.
But I'm aware that this is the end of the story.